University of Lagos Muslim Community is with us at the moment. Professor Ismail Musa would be leading us through a very brief open prayer.
Moderator, I think he's having issues joining. I think we can just call on the Amir of the MSS in person of Brother Abdurrahman Abdulaziz to give the opening dua.
Okay, great. So, Madam Abdurrahman Abdulaziz, would you please do us the honor?
Please unmute and give the opening dua. Abdurrahman Abdulaziz. Can he be unmuted?
Yes, he can unmute himself.
Okay, I think he's doing that now. Yeah, Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I hope you all can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can.
Okay, now we give thanks to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has spared our lives to this moment. We seek the mercies and blessings of all the blessed of mankind, his household, his companions, and those who the footsteps to the day of our reckoning. We pray to Almighty Allah to make this program a memorable one for every one of us. We pray to him as well to guide us aright. We pray to him as well to make Umar great. We pray to him to make the regime of the new president, which Professor Oli Adesoya, pray to him to make it a successful one for him and his crew members or his team members. We pray to him to guide everything we'll be saying today, and we pray to him to accept everything that we'll be discussing here as an act of ibadah. Whatever we have to discuss that is going to be that is going to make us free from his path. Almighty Allah forgive everything, and we also pray to him to make it a wonderful one for everyone. ربنا تقبل منا انك انت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا انك انت التواب الرحيم ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنه وفي الاخره حسنه وقنا عذاب النار. So I would implore every one of us to gently recite Surah Al-Fatiha.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina as-siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alayhim ghayril maghdubi 'alayhim waladdallin. Amin.
All right, thank you very much, the Amir of MSSN Unilab. At this point, I'd like to move on strictly to the next on our agenda today, which would be to hear a very brief recitation from Brother Umar Salam, Umar Abdul Salam, 200 level student of systems engineering, of course, from the University of Lagos. Brother Umar Abdul Salam, is he on the call already?
Yeah, he's there. He's on the panel.
Okay, great.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الناس قد جاءكم برهان من ربكم وأنزلنا إليكم نورا مبينا فأما الذين آمنوا بالله واعتصموا به فسيدخلهم في رحمة منه وفضل ويهديهم إليه صراطا مستقيما يستفتونك قل الله يفتيكم في الكلالة إن امرؤ هلك ليس له ولد وله أخت فلها نصف ما ترك وهو يرثها إن لم يكن لها ولد فإن كانت اثنتين فلهما الثلثان مما ترك وإن كانوا إخوة رجالا ونساء فللذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين يبين الله لكم أن تضلوا والله بكل شيء عليم.
Allahu Akbar. Thank you very much, Madam Umar Abdul Salam. Thank you. That was a very beautiful recitation we have from you there. I would have made a request to be sure if you're taking students into classes of Tahfiz though, because that voice was excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. May Allah reward you abundantly. Next, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, of course, would be to invite the president of the University of Lagos Muslim Alumni for a brief remark. Let's welcome our very own Professor Khalid Adekoya, please.
Thank you very much. Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika la wa ashhadu anna sayyidina Muhammad abduhu wa rasuluhu. I will start by first of all recognizing our father, His Eminence Alhaji Rasaki Oladejo, the president of MUSWEN, the chairman, board of trustee, University of Lagos Muslim Alumni, and deputy president general, South, Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, for his guidance, his support, and encouragement since we came on board about a month ago. And I'm not leaving any of the board of trustees. I have seen Alhaji Latif Bakari also amongst the attendees. That shows the respect we have for them and what they have been doing for the Ummah in general. We pray that God will continue to be with them, guide them, give them long life and plenty of health to be able to drive us to the promised land. I want to also thank Ummah members generally for the support and the advice, especially my ESCO members who have been very solid behind me. Now, what brought about this program is a very simple one. It borns out of the idea that Ummah encourages scholarship as well as welfareism. Our programs, as we have been doing them, we intend to continue with more vigor and strategically execute them. We are seeking for members to work with us for the success and initiatives that will bring forth. We will soon roll out our committees, and we pray and seek that all our members will join one or two committees in executing the programs that we intend to bring forth as soon as possible. We decided to have this webinar as a honor for our brother, Barrister Abdul Salam Idowu Kamaldeen, who exceptionally showed what I will refer to as exceptional willpower to succeed. And he exhibited it right from the date that we met him as Ummah up till today. I am not in the position to give out because the resume will still be read, but this brother showed what all of us, including the MSS students that are here with us, will learn from. That whatever you have and you put your mind to do, just be resilient and pray along with it. Allah will definitely bring forth people that will support you. That is what our brother saw, and he grabbed it, and the sky is almost not his limit now, because he's moving in bounds over what we expected or what we are emphasized. And I want to also put across that our webinar series, inshallah, will continue. We're already almost finishing agreement for a December webinar on these, our Naira redesigning. We are getting an expert from Central Bank of Nigeria who will also do a webinar on this topic for our members to understand the pros and the cons of what is coming up. Don't let me bore you. You know, I'm a teacher. I can talk a lot. We are here to listen to webinar and to listen to question and answer from our guests who I'm excited. I want to thank everybody for coming. Inshallah, the guests or the Thanksgiving will be given by the chairman of this committee, but I want to express my thanks and appreciation for all of us who have come on board to enjoy this evening with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for that very concise and indeed very impactful remark that you just made. Thank you so much once again. All right, at this point, we wouldn't like to take more time, but I'll be telling you very briefly about our guest today. I wouldn't like to take too much dive into his details because, of course, this is exactly what we're here to do. Again, just as a reminder, what we're doing today is looking at a trajectory to Nigerian 2022 National Award presented to Barrister Abdul Salam Idowu Kamaldeen, MON, member of the Order of Niger. And of course, this is being put together by the University of Lagos Muslim Alumni. Just a quick dive, of course, before a sneak peek into details about Barrister Abdul Salam Idowu Kamaldeen, who was born in 1979. Of course, he does have 2 degrees, one from political science from the University of Lagos and another from law, of course, also from the University of Lagos. He was called to bar in 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I think it's great to welcome our guest, Barrister Abdul Salam Idowu Kamaldeen. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, thank you very much. Just on a light note, aside from our fathers that are on the call right now, many youngsters would probably be beat you PlayStations because you do enjoy playing PlayStations. Okay, so let's get to it. First off, just a very brief option about yourself.
No.
Barrister Abdul Salam.
I'm very sorry, sir. I'm sorry. It's just that mistakenly my hand I can hear now.
All right. I want you to tell us very briefly about yourself, where you were born and what your childhood was
like. My name is Abdul Salam Idowu Kamaldeen. Thank you very much, sir. I greet everybody. I greet Mr. President, our professor, and everybody here present. I see this. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Abdul Salam Idowu Kamaldeen, and I was born in 1979. I wasn't born as a disabled. I was born in Kwara State in Ile, and that's when I was born and raised up when I go to my primary and secondary school.
Okay.
Hello.
What was your childhood like? What was your childhood like?
Hello, sir.
Yes, I can hear you. What was your childhood like?
Hello, sir.
I can hear you loud and clear. I'd like you to give us a fair idea or describe to us what your childhood was like.
Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin. Childhood for me was very, very, how do I describe this? It was very unpleasant, I must be honest. You know, I was a child who, when you go to sleep in the night, nobody will ask whether you wake up in the morning or not. Nobody will actually know where about you. And that's the kind of life. So the life I live is lonely life. I feed myself, I educate myself, I do everything for myself in life. That's the kind of the childhood I had. I always tell my colleague wherever I have an opportunity to talk to them, especially whenever I'm being called upon to address students. The greatest opportunity I had in my childhood was to become a tout. But alhamdulillah, today I'm not a tout. I'm a lawyer. I'm a political scientist. And with the help of Nigerians, with the help of Ummah contribution, not only I was able to have 1 degree, but I was able to have the 2nd degree. And today I'm somebody.
Alhamdulillah for that. Okay, so I'm pretty sure one question that would, be coming up on different participants' mind right now is this particular question around, at what age did you become challenged and what caused that, if you wouldn't mind sharing?
I can't hear you, sir.
I said, at what age did you become challenged? And if you wouldn't mind sharing the cause.
I was told by my father that I become a physically challenged at the age of 3. And I was too disciplined. I couldn't know myself. I was very young. I was at a tender age. I lost my mother at the age of 4. That is a year after the condition. I was told by my father that I developed a fever symptom. So traditionally, they believe so much in herbs, and they were giving me herbs. Before they realized, about 3 days, it has gone out of control. I was taken to various hospitals, but as Allah will have it, the wish of Allah is that will be the last day I may use my legs to walk. So as a person, I never conscious of myself walking because I was very, very young when this condition happened. But that is the story that was related to me by my father.
Wow. That's quite, I can imagine how it went through that was at that point in time. So my next question now, very quickly, I will also be joined by a just in case of the call, Malam Abakebi Koye will be taking charge. But in the meantime, a quick one from me now is fine. We do understand how challenging this could be for you to have been challenged also at age 3, caused by polio, and then losing your mother, your mom at 4, just pretty much a year after that. I can imagine how demanding that period, that phase of your life would have been. Now, the next thing I'd like to ask you, and I want you to share with us, is a question around how you cope, during this time, because you sent me a brief about yourself a while ago, and I read up some certain details around that. Of course, where you had to, in some cases, took to the street. But I wouldn't, probably I'd like you to share a few of that experience with us.
As a child, as an orphan, we were living, myself and my sibling were living with our grandmother. That is my father's mother. I believe that I will be posting some kind of, if I should be allowed to go to school, who will be pointing at me, describing the family and say, this is a Salami sound, this is that. So the belief of my grandmother then is that as time goes on, I will have to go and learn radio out of her. And that's the one, that was the ground. But this, I have this thing, I always struggle to go out. And there is a primary school, Muslim primary school, really. So I always go to this school, I always play with the students. And nobody disturb me, no teacher harass me. We sit, we start in the same class, we learn. In fact, I thought I was a student. After everybody were promoted, the place I was there, the class then was called Jemsimi. It's a kind of a kindergarten now. So at the end of the year, everybody were promoted to primary one. They were divided into classes. Now, if you're in primary one, you have primary one, and so on. So, and I was like, which particular class was I? So I was told by a teacher that we only allow you to play with our pupils. I know a student, nobody will register you. I was devastated. I went back home. Luckily for me, my daddy came home then. My father didn't live with us. He lived as far in Taraba State, together with his wife, because after the death of my mom, he married another woman. So he hardly home. He come maybe once in 5 years, it depends wherever he had the opportunity to come. And luckily at that time, he was around for about 2 days. So I came from the school devastated, approached him, tell him that, sir, you have to register me to. This is what happened. Everybody have been promoted. I was promoted because I was in the student. And this my daddy gives to me is that, Kamali, just calm down. As time goes on, you will find something to do. So I disagree. Just with my plea away. So he wasn't interested. So I understand the communication. I wasn't happy with the communication. So I was bent on getting registered. So I went for about 2 or 3, I think about 3 people in the compound. They were elderly. And there was this woman who my daddy always listened to very, very well. She was sending Kuna not. I went to her, I cried. Luckily for me, she took me directly to my dad. And he said, Salami, this boy didn't ask you to give him anything. Take him to school tomorrow, register him now. He refused, said, Madam, not that we hate this boy. Let me be fair with you. Since the mother died, I was the only one cater for all of them, sponsor him. And I quickly said, Ma, don't worry, just get me registered. I will take care of myself. My father refused to listen that day. And the other day, I persisted. I tried, the whole compound gathered on us. he reluctantly took me to a really Muslim primary school when I was registered. And that's when I started the primary school of finance. So when it comes to the issue of bringing Naira, bringing 150 kobo, whatever for Dostar or whatever we are contributing. So I only be the last person to, because we have to.
It's a delay in the audio.
Make money out, whatever I can gather this money.
Okay. Now, okay, so in the meantime, just
Hello, sir.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you clearly. Just for the purpose of those that are just joining us, we've been talking to Barrister Kamaldeen Abdul Salam. Thank you very much. Of course, he does have a BSc degree in political science and also an LLB in law. So let me come to another question, Barrister Kamaldeen. I mean, you said in one, I mean, the statement and the brief that you shared with me earlier today, that you did have to, at some point, of course, to go through your primary and secondary education, you did took to begging. I'll read your statement in particular and quote you verbatim. I started my education career in 1987, and due to financial challenge, I took to street begging. And in brackets, you did said, I was a real street beggar. What was that experience like?
Yes. When I started, my grandma refused to come to any school. So, unfortunately, again, that was a serious problem in the family. And I found that I was the only one left in there really. So, I have to survive and I have to make sure my education continues. So, I took to full-time street begging in Erinle and Offa. So that is how I financed my primary school. Wherever I cannot realize a lot of money from begging, I always weave basket. I was very good in a basket at that time.
Basket weaving.
Yes, I was an expert. Among my peers, I was one of the best.
Wow.
But the problem of the basket is that he had ECC. So you can only make money out of it during the Kunalo, that community at that particular time. So it's a seasonal business. So I mixed it together with the street begging. But when I finished my primary school in 1993, I started my primary in 1987. So I got admission into Surajuddin College and Erinle Secondary School. But I needed 520 naira for school fees. No textbook was not included. Locker and chairs and uniform. Nobody could provide me 50 naira out of this money. But I already been hearing that Lagos State is profitable and lucrative for begging. One day I was begging in Offa and the train park. I asked somebody, where is this train? They told me it was headed to Lagos State. So I decided to buy half ticket and come to Lagos. So unfortunately, I didn't have any relative in Lagos to come to. Neither do I have any place of abode. So when I get to Ido Tamilos, I found out that everybody goes down the train. That means that's the final destination of that particular journey. So I came down, follow people movement out of the station. Then I started asking questions. So you see some people doing some business, selling biscuits and whatever. So I have to start asking questions. Please, can you tell me about this environment? How can I be? I don't have anything. Luckily, people give me the aid. If you stay in the station here, it's just that you'll be giving police some money from this and stuff. At the 2 loss. Then somebody now told me that if I can go to Igbo, I will make better money. So I grieved, and by the time I go through this, it was too stressful for me to come every day because I was quickly from Ido Terminus to Ogun. That was too stressful. So I decided there's no point for me going back to Ido Terminus. I was looking under the bridge. Under the bridge, then you just give some security man 20 naira, and you are okay. So that is how I managed. Left this, I was able to gather 1,900 naira. I went back to Rede. I pay my school fees, and so whenever I needed money, I came to Lagos, beg for 2-3 days, then go back to school. And that is how I did till I finished my junior secondary school. So immediately I enter SS1. This guy I met in my village, I was like, you've been living in under the bridge that you do not every blessing. How do you pass it? So I narrated that experience, and he gave me an address that I should go to my two. There are secondary school there. He gave me a particular school. I think I'm word of this secondary school. Either you move or I'm word of it. I don't remember exactly now. So when I got there,
would you mind just repeat that part again?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now. Please go on.
So when I get there, the man gave me his passport. So I asked of the name of the security man in the school. I saw him 20 naira to stay in that class every day. That is how I finished my secondary school. But in 1999, when we were enrolling for YA, I bought a past question in English, and I found I could not solve just one question. I told myself, you cannot pass YA there. So I didn't register that for a year. I just came to Lagos State. I begged for about 6 months, able to gather money. I rented an apartment and enrolled in the evening class. At the day, I think the name of the lesson was Esther Died. And I keep reading. I bought textbook. What I did then is this: I went to buy primary one, all the textbook, all subjects from primary 1 to 6. I read them all in my room. Then I bought all the subjects. I bought the textbook from GS1 to GS3. I read it all in my room. So I was able to finish all this thing within 3 months. Then I now bought all the SS1 to 3. I now started the classes. And that I was able to write down. I mean, WAEC. I passed my WAEC. I was able to write down. I passed my job. Inshallah, I got to study political science in University of Lagos.
Okay, great. That indeed has been something really quite intriguing, knowing that you had to go through all that to pull through. I must say you are indeed a fighter, pulling through the primary school challenge and of course the secondary school as well, right? So at this point, while you're doing all this, let's just quickly, attend to this now. While you're doing all this during your experience in primary, secondary school, was there any time that you felt like, I can't cope with this, I can't do this anymore?
Yes. I think I wrote WAEC in 2002 and I made my. Unfortunately, I have written JAMB like 3 2 times, and I couldn't meet her with the cut-off mark. I never took any other university other than University of Lagos. And the reason for that, I will have been choosing LASU, but I always be scared of. People always talk about courtesan in LASU, and I was like, I don't know any way that would radicalize me for that one. So I don't really like her. So I was only keep to University of Lagos. Now the issue now is this: whatever I beg, I used to beg between my 2 and Orele. You know, as you grow up in life, you become conscious of it.
Yes.
So I become conscious of myself. I'm begging become she to me. I see my mates beg them for money. And sometimes I may be giving now.
We are losing your audio. Would you probably just move the phone closer?
I have this thing that only keep me on is like, well, slowly but surely.
Okay.
If you drop off that you are not begging anymore, then you will never be able to beg. Because there was no source of finance was very quick. As nobody knew whether I die or I survive in the family.
We're losing some of your audio. Sorry. Would you mind moving the device slightly closer? Perhaps that will make it better.
Can you hear me better now? No.
Yes, we can.
This is better. Please get closer to the.
I'm very closer to it now.
Okay.
All right. Good. Good.
Yeah, is it good now?
Yes. Better.
So I have to always tell myself that look, as a disabled, because at that particular time, to be honest, I devised a means of surviving. And what that means, I will go to Ore in Ondo State. I will buy kola nuts. I will then go to Maiduguri and sell the kola nuts. Then the morning, if I sell the kola nut, I will went to Monagara. I will buy beans. I will bring the beans to Lagos at the terminus and sell it. Now, this is where the problem is. At the terminus, I don't have a shop. So what we do is to give it to those who deal in that business. So wherever they sell it, they remove their commission and return the money back to us. Now, they too go to all these places to go and buy. So they will sell their own to a ready-made customer that are ready to pay. My own will be sold on credit. So I may not be able to get my money next 4-5 months. So if I refuse to keep begging, then I will have eaten my capital, or even I will have incurred a lot of debt.
As a profit.
So I have to keep it up. I was lucky when I got that. I was almost giving up at that particular Vananova. And luckily in 2006, Amanda was admitted to study political science in the university.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much once again. So the next I'd like us to get to now, of course, earlier I introduced you as having 2 different degrees, a BSc in political science, an LLB in law. Definitely, this wouldn't have come, quite easily anyways. So I want you to take us through that journey of getting into your first degree at the University of Lagos, and of course, your second.
Now, my first and second choice courses always been, so I never had second choice until 2007.
So you've always wanted to be a lawyer?
I always wanted to be a lawyer, and the reason that was the reason it took me so long. I wrote about 4 or 5 jams before I was able to get admission. So it was because I was adamant that it was law. And why did I in 2006, I actually took post science as second choice. The reason, somebody told me that it's like University of Lagos we no longer accept combination of results. And I didn't have my literature and I added in NECO and WIDE. So I please see. So I choose second course as post science. So when this something happened, when we were to buy post-UME form, I went to University of Lagos to buy this at Wema Bank. And somebody came from the bank, inside the bank. Somebody came inside the bank and he said that he was telling the security man to bundle me out. So he was telling the security man that don't allow him, don't allow him, don't allow him. And I was like, don't allow who? And the security man came to me. He said, hey, hello, sir. Hello, sir. That woman said that you should go out. I was annoyed. I said, that who should go out? That who should go out? He said, that woman is a bank manager. So it's a bank manager. So what? Then for me to go out there, for that person, but and a young man, what do you want to say? I said, what does everyone say here with? That particular time, that woman was a fan. And he was like, okay, go on, do whatever you want. So, later, at 10 minutes, a lady asked me again, called aside, said that she did to buy post-UME. He said yes. He said, okay. That woman said that I should buy for you. So don't worry about money. I said, don't worry, tell that woman that I do that money. I have my money that I came here. So about 20 minutes later, the lady came back and said, okay, since you decided to buy for yourself now, you pay for yourself, you have bring the money, let help you. You see here is very busy. You may be here from that. I reasoned with that lady. I gave her my money and she bought me. We lost everything.
Oh. That's how you got the form, right?
Can you hear me? Can you still get me?
Yes, we can hear you. So I said that's how you got the form.
So he bought the form for me.
Okay.
I filled it. He submitted it for me. And I left. So I was coming to check result when Unilag release admission list. Where the same security man that the bank manager asked to bundle me out approached me. He said, madam, I've been waiting for you since. He has been looking for you. This and that. Which madam? He said, the bank manager. So he just got, he said, young man, if you get annoyed with what happened that day, you will lose it. See, this woman will help you. So I calmed down. I reasoned with him. So he took me to the bank and the lady apologized. So he said that I didn't know you actually came for post-UME that day. I'm very sorry. I thought you were a beggar. And that's when I was like, we don't do this and that. So admission is really asking me, there is admission list is out now. Did you make it? I'm just going to check. Say, okay, that go and check. But in case you didn't make the list, you know that one of my lady bought the form for you that day. I said yes, that I've caused your issue with Mrs. Akanli. That was the name. He was the deputy registrar for admission at that time. I said okay. So I went to cafe in the University of Lagos And he was like, no, you don't even need cafe. Just go to Unilag Mosque. The admission list, if your name is there and whatever. So I went there and my name wasn't there indeed. So I have to complete now. So I have to went back to the woman and she directed me to Mrs. Akandi office. When I got there, she was a friendly woman. So she discussed with me a lot of of fire by narrated. And the last thing she said is that you cannot get because you in the first place you didn't make up the cut off mark for law. Even if you make it, even if you made the cut off mark, that's not how we will give it because you are combining with. He said, will you be okay with the post science? I just look at the woman and see the way he's asking me, will you be okay with the post science? I've been looking for this for a very long time. I just asked me, will I be okay? I will be more than okay with it now. So at least let me get something that's better. You laugh at me. So, and that is how I got admission to study political science. So, the very first, the problem I actually face is this. I didn't really have money. The school fees there was 29,500 naira. So, but I didn't discuss the issue of school fees with the woman that I just want to get admission. And that's it. So when I got admission, I was trying to struggle to see, I have some young flowers in my trip because this is what I was doing. Sometimes I went to Saria. If I carry my product to Saria, I will buy tomatoes and go and sell at Ilorin. If I go to Taraba State, I will buy yam flour. Yam flour is what you have called a bok. We use it for amala. Then I go to my trip. I didn't have sub in order. So everything must be sold on credit. So I have to wait for long to offer this money. When I'm waiting, I'll be begging in the streets. And so I was expecting that some money will come from those areas. From my trip, then I had some flour there, and this money didn't come on time. So I was going for one Friday afternoon. In that one general course in University of Lagos. So we were like over 2,000. So what I already did is like 2 hours before the class, I will go and make sure that I secure a space. If lucky, there is no another course so closer to that particular time. So because the class is usually after Jumat. So I'll make sure to carry something to, just put your bag on that particular seat, and then when everybody come there, you guys start paying for the space. So I was there, someone just dragged me from the bar. You see skateboard then. Skateboard is a form of just a form of weed that you can see some beggars on the road always use mobility aids where they are begging the street, all those things. So that's what I was. He just draw my back. He said, young man, good afternoon. I said, good afternoon, sir. Are you a student here? I said, sir. Why are you not using wheelchair? That person was the second person to ask why am I not using chair. And I was in a hurry. I didn't want him to waste my time. I said, sir, I'm a sponsor person, so I don't have money for wheelchair. I moved for. He dragged me back in. He said, you are a set sponsor. What do you see? I said, yes, sir. So he was like, you are in a hurry to somewhere. I said, yes, sir. I'm in a hurry to secure a space for. He said, it's like you may not be able to secure that space this afternoon. I have to go down and we talk. He asked a lot of questions. To my surprise, I never knew that man was a journalist. And the next Monday, just for me, hey, we see your picture on Punch newspaper. We'll be reading that. I went to buy Punch newspaper indeed, and it was true. So I got angry that why would somebody place my story without my conscience? I was arguing with a lady that this is rubbish. Now I didn't. A woman was passing by. She was the chancellor of the university. I didn't know that time. In person of Mrs. Asiwaju, and she overheard me. She said, "Wait, you were a beggar before, right?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." The man had just said the truth. So why are you angry? I will even help you. So she canceled me and she invited me to her office. Honestly, before I realized, people calling me here and there. That same afternoon, about 2 days thereafter, somebody called me. He said that he is Dr. Khalid Adekoya. He is a part of Uma. I didn't know what Uma was at that particular time. That they read my story and they are moved by my story. They're ready to sponsor me. That as where am I? I say I'm in this particular place. Then came to me. Then we talk, and that is how I become a scholar. In fact, later I was made to realize UMA don't sponsor undergraduate students. So my case was different. UMA was mainly sponsoring postgraduates because the purpose of the scholar is to increase the numbers of lecturers in the university community. So my case was different, and that's how I continue. So many people come along to assist me, and some give me once more, some continuity, we finish the school. UMA continuity, I finish my.
Wow. Wow, that's very enlightening. And also
so when I was writing, I'm sorry, let me quickly add. You asked of how did I become the get to degree. Now, when I was in 100 level, I registered for WAEC because I always wanted to study law. So unfortunately, WAEC that time, I mean GCE that time was always September period, and University of Lagos second semester was always September period. There was no how now we abandon university exams that to go and sit for, so I couldn't make it. When I was 200 level, the same thing, I couldn't make it. But when I got to 300 level, going to 400, one beautiful, wonderful strike happened. So so they went on, I think about 3 months strike, and I took that opportunity to write. Luckily for me, I have all, including my literature, I had everything in one sitting. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
In one sitting. So I forgot him because my attention was on the project. By the time the result was out, my attention was actually on the final year project. A friend just called me. I was in Unilag Library reading, and he said, please, can you help me check this result? He sent me the card, and I checked back. I now remember, my two wrote white now. I call him back. Please, can you help me buy the card? I will pay you back. He bought it, he sent it. I checked my own result as well. As Allah will have it, I had the least result in that result was big. And I was like, are you going to waste this result again? I just went to buy. So JAMB that time is no problem for me because I was already a final year student. So I know post-science government will be just easy. So that's how I wrote another JAMB while writing my project. So immediately I finished my project, graduated from a post, I was given another admission to study law.
Wow. Okay, so even though I would want you to get into that conversation of how it went and how you were able to fare on campus, also becoming a student of law, you just cited the instance of you again, level studying science. I'm pretty sure there's no gainsaying. I'm going to ask you around in government. Imagine a 300 level student writes JAMB or UTME, and of course writing government as one of the subjects. Anyways, I can imagine you will definitely smash that. Now, again, one thing that becomes very paramount at this point is the fact that you are very, very dogged. You really, really know what you wanted for, and you kept going on and on and on for it. You were a lawyer, and today you're one. Thank God for that in your life. Now, at this point, I think to talk about how you had an encounter with the speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Gbajabiamila Amila. How did you even get to meet him, let alone how you became a special advisor to the speaker himself? Would you mind sharing that with us?
Yes, this is what happened. I finished in university in 2016. In 2015, I went to law school and I was called to bar in 2016. Now, in law school, there are two attachments. That is, you do chamber attachment and you do, that is externship now, and you do court externship. So I choose Apapa Magistrate Court for my externship because it close to where I have the house, when I have a rented apartment, so that it will be easy for me where you come from. I finished there, but where I was called to bar, realistically, there is no job in Nigeria. Just as I used to tell my colleague when we were in school, that hey, all of us said there's no way we are going to work with. Nigeria imports almost everything. And if you are not producing, then what are you going to hire labor for? So me and you are just going to school. So, we used to joke a lot and people know me for saying that a lot. So now, when I finished, there was no, this is a country where even able-bodied graduates will look for a job for like 7 years, 5 years after graduation. So talk of a disabled. When I finished, I decided that, look, I can't go back to begging now. Those who actually assist me when I was a student is because I was a student. So I'm a graduate, they believe I should be able to pay for myself now. I can go back to them and beg them for money. So I now, after 2 university degree, go back and start begging again. I say no. Where there is there must be a miss anyway. So what I did is this. I just went to what is always popular known as charge and bail. A charge and bail is a form of situation where a legal practice which is done. You go to the court. You don't have an office in the court. You are not an official of the court. Yeah. You are waiting when police will bring suspect to the court. Then you approve the vehicle and you ask them, do you have a lawyer? If they have a lawyer, that's the end of the story. If they don't have a lawyer, can I act for you? Then you take the number. If their family are with them, you talk to them. They give you something. You be the guy. You perfect the guy be. You are. That is how I was able to earn a living. So this chief magistrate was like, because the issue is this. After the bail, I always do trial. Most of the lawyer only interested in perfecting bail because there is some money in perfecting bail. So I always, after perfecting the bail, we ensure that I continue doing the trial. So, and the chief magistrate was very moved. Magistrate Oshin. Then, so he is the justice of the High Court of Lagos State today. So one day, because I did the extension where she was still at Apapa, so she saw me coming back to hustle. So she challenged me one day and said, Ma, I'm not like every other person that came here for extension. Me, I've been sponsoring myself from primary 1 to date. So I don't have any friend anywhere that I will write that will give me employment anywhere. So I just have to do something to earn a living legally. She was moved. And one night, she called me, say, we went for a particular program today. So I met majority leaders of the House of Representatives, the person of Rep. Femi Gbaja. I discussed your matter with him. He asked me to give you his number. So I collected the number and I called Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. He gave me another person number that he is out of the country now, that I should keep calling the personal assistant that once he's back in the country, make arrangement to see me. And indeed, when he came back to the country, I was called by Mr. Larry Smart. He was the personal assistant at that time. So I went to Surulere to go and meet Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. In fact, then we talked. He asked me some questions. I told him everything. He was moved. So he invited me to the National Assembly when I was given national recognition in 2017. Then 2 weeks after that, he gave me a car.
Wow.
And I never expected any other thing from him, because the car he gave to me at that particular time is like he bought me my 2 legs. Why do I say this? That aided my job. So because by that time, I've already, go to a lot, I go to prisons, go to Ikoyi prison, Kirikiri prison, meeting. The issue of charge and bail lawyer is this. You don't have any client anywhere. You wait for whatever the police brought to the station. To the court. Me, I'm a disabled. I cannot be struggling favorably with them because it's issue of running after vehicle. So I tested it. I survived a bit, but I said if my future does not really lie here, it's not going to go. I can't cope with this. Running a disabled on the weekend will be running after vehicle all the time, and it's a strong competition. Nobody send you. Other lawyer don't want to know whether you are disabled. This guy just want to make money and go. So what I divide then is that, okay, fine. I will be going to Syria police station if they have any matter, going to the prison. Then sometimes you do free charge, you do pro bono for many of the inmates if their matter is not too difficult for me to do, because I have to transport myself here and there. And if I'm doing pro bono, nobody pay me. I'm not working when I'm earning any money other than whatever I can get. So I keep doing all these things. And by the time I got that car, it made my job more easier. I can go. I started driving by myself. So I've been driving before. I've been used to one tricycle. That make learning driving easy. Because when I was in political science, NASFAT bought me one tricycle. And that is what I use mostly throughout my political science and law faculty. So driving wasn't difficult, where Honorable Gbajabiamila gave me a car. And that was like, he bought me my leg. To be honest with you, I can go to anywhere within Lagos State or outside Lagos State without any problem. So if I have any brief here, I just drive. Don't worry, I'll come and meet you. Don't worry. And that's how I manage myself. So I didn't expect any other thing for him until in 2019, when I went to bath night. I just came from the court, undressed myself, went to bathroom. Coming back, seeing the missed call of Mr. Lowry, call back, and he just informed me that the Honorable Speaker has decided to appoint me as a SC.
Wow.
On special needs and special and equal opportunities. That is how I become the special assistant to the Honorable Speaker.
That's really, really inspiring. So the next question now, of course, which would be the national award that you were, awarded with. You were actually recognized with the national award by the president, which exactly is the reason why we are also having this conversation. Just very briefly, in about 2 to 3 minutes.
Hello? Hello?
We're going to get to the question now.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
So I was nominated by the Honorable Speaker, Right Femi Gbajabiamila, and that is how I got a national award. So I was in Lagos where the letter was sent to me through my WhatsApp. So I went to Abuja to go and pick the letter.
Okay, so also I want you to tell us very briefly if you have, advice that you have for anyone who perhaps is also nursing the idea of I don't think it can be done. Sometimes some of us are not exactly, challenged, but sometimes it could be a mental challenge that some of us are dealing with. Some of us, in some cases, are not exactly dealing with any psychological, mental, or physical challenge, but we just tend to drop our guard on certain tasks or goal that we wish to, achieve for ourselves in life. Any advice you have for anyone who's probably thinking in that direction?
I used to tell students this because I always be invited to talk to students, especially private schools, and I always tell them this. Almighty God has placed every individual destiny in their hands. How? The difference between me and you, the difference between myself and goats and other animal is because we have higher brain. So we reason better than animal. And you realistically, whatever you choose to become in life, the only person that can stop you, you have only two persons that can stop you, yourself and Almighty Allah. As long as Allah has not stopped you from becoming that thing, and you have not stopped yourself, forget your background and forget where you come from. All you need is just keep doing it, persist, and be realistic with yourself. If you don't know something, no, tell yourself, I don't know this subject. If you pretend, you will not be able to solve the problem. Be realistic with yourself. That look, this is who I am. I'm not that too brilliant. I'm not a genius. If you're a genius, you will know. If you are not, that does not mean you can't do something meaningful in your life. What it means is that if Mr. Genius read once, you can read 5 times. But what matters is this, you will all pass the exam, isn't it? So the same thing applies to other areas in life. It's what you want to become. If you decide to become a tout in the street, you become a tout. If you become a responsible person in the street, in the community, you become a responsible person. What matters in life is continue doing what you are doing positively, and don't ever think it's not possible. There's nothing like impossible. I tell my story here that I live under the bridge for 3 years, in the classroom for 3 years, that's 6 years. I never in my life, until as I'm talking now, I never in my life tasted cigarette, talk or smoking any other weed in my life. And I had the greatest opportunity I had in my life to do all these things. So it's a matter of you preparing your mind and preparing yourself. And believe me, the sky is not the limit for you.
Thank you very much. That was very, very, very impactful. Your thought. Thank you once again for sharing your thought on that. You said something quite instructive. You lived under the bridge for 3 years and even slept in classrooms for another 3 years. And yet, someone who has probably spent a day under the bridge will begin to learn how to smoke, and you haven't even tried it once ever in your life. Thank you very much. We're going to thank you for your life journey thus far. This is where I'd like to ask our participants and our fathers and mothers on the call to please drop their question in the Q&A box so we can quickly take that. After which, of course, I'll be inviting our BOT chairman for a very brief remark. Just a quick one. I think I have a question already. Zainab Adelabu said, I've been listening to your story with all enthusiasm. I just want to ask you, what is your why? What makes you think? Something that keeps driving you against all odds. What did you keep telling yourself that you can do it?
Well, like I said, at a particular point, I said that slowly but surely. You know why? I become conscious of my environment, of myself, and I become ashamed of begging. That's the only reason I devise another means, try to do business. So, but realistically, as I keep growing up, I keep realizing the only means I can survive is through education. Why do I say so? Now, if you don't go to school at all in your life, you don't have any problem somehow. You will still become somebody. At worst, you will be able to feed yourself if you sell pure water, gala, or you go into Idumata and do alabaru. If me, a disabled person, approach you and say, I want to do house, I want to be your house, will you employ me? Even if I can do it better than yourself, people will say, Aro, you is a disabled, a crippled man you want to employ, or you want to give your load to carry. So I realized I have to be skillful in order to survive in life in this environment. So
I must say you're very dogged. Go on, please.
Hello?
Go on, please. We can hear you.
I define me that beside that I can do some business, but realistically, I must tell you, I hardly make a profit out of about the first 6 months I started, or the first 1 year I started business, I didn't make any profit. I don't have any experience. So I didn't have any experience of the business. And that itself was frustrating. I was getting frustrated out of it. So if I did business, I have to wait for 4, 5, 6 months to get my money because everything will be stood on credit. So I was like, look, education, if I'm able to finish 1 degree, if I'm able to get law in particular, I can get my chamber. Nobody will retire me. Nobody will say because you are a disabled. Nobody will ever. As long as you can deliver. And some people will not still approach you because no matter how brilliant you are, but realistically, you will still have people who will still patronize. In fact, people that will even patronize you because you are a disabled. And that's the main reason I was like, look, I have to keep fighting. And again, I have to keep fighting for law. Just to be independent in the future. And alhamdulillah, wow. I'm able to get this.
Fine. Alhamdulillah, thank you so much. Now, one more question from my end is, how has being a Muslim helped you, all across all this journey?
Yes, that is when I used to tell my siblings, because when I finished the first university, my father have about 10 children. I'm the only one that finished secondary school. The very first person to finish secondary school. Wow. So it's not like they didn't train me because I'm a disabled. It's because they couldn't train others. They don't have financial ability. And you realize one thing, we keep hatching children like chickens. Anyway, now I always tell my sibling this thing that, see, I was able to achieve most of these things because I never take to drug or any intoxicating substance when I was pushing. And the only thing that survived me is because when I was in my primary and secondary school, I always go to Islamic school every evening. That is Saturday to Thursday till Wednesday, then Thursday and Friday is break. And I went to the extent that, alhamdulillah, I finished Quran. I went to the interpretation to the extent that I did Quran tafsir from beginning to the end. And so to some extent, I have the Islamic knowledge of prohibition of intoxicating substance. So what I really gain in Islam that really secure my future is prohibition of intoxicating substance. There's no how you will be yourself. You live under the bridge, you don't have parents, you don't have anybody after you. You are on your own at age of 8. I started primary 1 in 1987 at age of 8. The chances you have greatly is you taking to drug and whatever. Luckily for me, Islamic knowledge secure prevented me from doing this.
All right. Thank you so much. Alhamdulillah. I mean, that was quite inspiring, I must say. At the very least, of course, having the knowledge and being cautious of aligning all that you do, also very paramount. Let me quickly take this last question from Professor Badru. He said, Jazakumullah khairan for sharing your thought. That was quite insightful. What one suggestion and advice would you give to those who are challenged one way or another?
Like I just said, hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go on.
Like I just said, Allah placed everybody destiny in their own hand. Now left for us to follow it. Now, my advice is always be realistic. You can't be nothing upon nothing. Be realistic with yourself. If you deceive everybody, don't deceive yourself. And know how not to deceive yourself. Miracle will not happen. The only miracle that will happen is you knowing what you are doing, be consistent about what you determine to become, and pray fervently for that particular thing. Now, it's like this. A student wants to pass exam, and he only read a night to the exam. Me and you know the result now. So there's no miracle. I don't think any lecturer will ever, no matter how you pray, I don't think any lecturer will remember a day that he gives somebody 20, and before they break, that mark, prayer just turned that mark to 60. It's not possible. So you have to read. If you are a student, for instance, if you are in other areas of life, just be realistic. There are some actions that are not just realistic. See, I always tell people one thing: suffering is normal. Always tell yourself, always expect the worst. If you are not rich, if you are not coming from a rich family, so you see that somebody do it for you or you do it for somebody. If you are coming from a very poor background like myself, then you have to lay the foundation for at least for your own children. My father, my parents failed to lay that for me. I had to lay this for my own children. Then if you have to lay the same for your own children, you must be realistic with yourself. Now, people will fold the arm. That was a day I told a friend this at Ajigunle. I live at Ajigunle at that time. He always complain to me, say, in their village, in their family, he was the firstborn. The witches and whatever disturb him. I said, look, even if you live in USA, even if Nigeria becomes so good than USA, it cannot better for you. You don't go to school. You don't learn work. You don't do business. Do you think you will just be sleeping, money will be coming down? It's not possible. You must render service for people to pay you, isn't it? So there is nothing we even pursue in your life. As you are now, wait, you get the first. And the guy was like, so realistically, let's be realistic. There's nothing impossible except Allah made it impossible. The only person who can stop it is yourself or Almighty Allah. As long as God does not, you are not sick, you are not suffering, you are not having mental challenge, then every other thing is secondary. You are going to suffer if you are not coming from the well-to-do family. You must accept you are going to suffer. You are not the only one that will suffer. There are a lot of people who suffer in the society. So I was sleeping under the bridge, and I was still meeting people under the bridge, isn't it? So that's the reality. So it means that I wasn't the only one in that condition. What matters is that just make sure that you are consistent and know what you are doing. And believe me, you are going to make it in life.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much once again for that beautiful response to that question. Now, the next, before I call on our father for his remark, I think I'd like to invite the PRO of University of Lagos Muslim Alumni for a brief information for us. It has a very brief information for us. Once again, we've been talking to Barrister Abdulsalam Kamaldeen. Thank you so much for being on the call today.
I'm pretty
sure that it's an honor. And then where you of course mentioned the contribution of UMA, of course, as it's been put together, our scholarship program is essentially meant for a postgraduate student, but you did, quite came across as someone who has an inspiring personality with all the doggedness, all the strive, all the perseverance that you went through. I think it was justifiable for us to go out of our way to provide that support at the time, and would also always, provide such support in the nearest future as well, inshallah. Thank you very much once again for providing us this opportunity to interact with us and of course to share your history, your challenge that you've also gone through in the past with us. Thank you so much once again. I'd like to invite Alhaji Tajuddin Adebanjo now for a very quick Mr. Tajuddin Adebanjo, please.
Yeah, I'm online. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen for the interaction with our brother. It's been an enlightening one. And very soon, maybe we need to inform you that this time around, you will see some of these things in publication in various newspapers so that it won't be shocked, come to you as a shock that you were not informed. You've told us a lot of things that people out there need to read about, especially those who are challenged and the likes. I do tell people on the road when I see people with disability that look, when they were begging for this, and I say, look, you don't need to beg. What you just need to do is get yourself to do something, and you find out that you also will be among the people that will be feeding people instead of begging here and there. Especially when you go to National Stadium, we have a lot of people like that doing one or two things for themselves and doing fantastically well. So thank you very much for this outing and life. So our members out there and those who are here to join the University of Lagos Muslim Alumni, we have a lot of activities going on and in our association whereby you need to tap into. We have scholarships for postgraduate students. We have a lot of programs. Our Ramadan lecture is, if not number one, among the Muslims organization in Nigeria, because we bring in valued presenters, valued lecturers, and people out there that the world wants to listen to. These are some of the things that stand to benefit. Then a lot of things are also going on. And also part of our plan is to see how we can bring in our people from outside the country so that they can as well participate. We have a lot of GUMA members across the globe that we feel that they also need to be part of what we are doing. Very soon we'll have GUMA diaspora, where we have coordinators from various countries here and there that will also be participating in GUMA program within and outside the country. So we want to call each and every one of us out there. Why don't you join us? You can liaise with us. We have our phone numbers out there and the likes. If you want to join us, just come out to the board and be part of the women's activities.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, the PRO, Mr. Tajuddin Adebanjo. At this point now, I'd like to invite the BOT chairman of the University of Lagos Muslim Alumni for his remark. Haji Rasaki Oladejo, please.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I want to commend our new president, Professor Khalid Adekoya, for a very good beginning. And I pray that you keep it up. I'm really very happy to be present today to listen to our brother Abdul Salam Idowu Kamaldeen. And I think all of us who attended this webinar will also express the same. He has demonstrated to us that nothing is impossible except we are not prepared to try. That is what he has exhibited. I also want to tell you that in life, our ambition should be made of sterner stuff. little ambition is a crime. To think that, well, I'm just going to do this small thing. You are not the one to do it. God is going to assist you to do it. Why not think of something big, which God can enable you to do, as this gentleman has done, by not just folding his hand and just begging without trying to improve himself. We have all seen today also that education is the best solution to address poverty. And that is why, if you look around the world, the rich nations of the world are the most educated. So all of us, we must try, this one thing we must try to do, we have to promote education. And that is what UMA has been doing over the years, by actually awarding scholarships. And then, giving other benefits to increase capacity of individuals, capacity building. So I want to advise all of us who have listened to this and others who are not around that, we must continue to try, and that our ambition should be made of something big, not something small, because it is not we that are going to achieve that, but Allah, the Almighty. On that note, I want to say I'm very, very happy. I'm very glad, to participate in this webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the BOT Chairman, University of Lagos Muslim Alumni, Alhaji Razaki Oladejo. Thank you. It's an honor to have you on the call. Also, I think it's instructive to say, before I invite the chairman, the planning committee, for a vote of thanks, that Madam Kamaldeen is a lawyer by profession, and by extension, I think we have capable, individual and personalities here who at one point or the other would require his professional service. Please do not hesitate to reach out to him, of course, to get his professional opinion. Of course, that would come at a fee anyways. His professional opinion as a lawyer on one or two, transactions that you would like to, get involved in. He'll be happy and be glad to do that. So at this point, can I invite, can I have Dr. Ganiya Tijani Adenle for a brief vote of thanks, please? Dr. Ganiya Tijani. Okay, so I know she's on the call. Would you please unmute yourself? Okay, while we're waiting for our, I'd like to mention again, for those who are probably just joining the call, it's been a wonderful session we've had, very interactive and very wonderful session we've been having with Barrister Kamaldeen Idowu, who we are putting in on the spotlight today to actually x-ray what his journey had been from primary to secondary, of course, to the university education that he has acquired for himself, a BSc degree in political science, and of course, an LLB also in law from the University of Lagos, and is currently practicing as a lawyer, a special advisor also to the Speaker, Honorable Gbajabiamila as well. So that said, I hope Dr. Ganiya is ready now. Okay, so if he's not, can I have the Secretary General of UMA, if he's with us here, to probably give the vote of thanks? Dr. Odunuga, please.
I think, hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
I think that Odunuga is also not on the platform.
Oh, he left most likely.
He left.
Okay.
Maybe I can just do it so that we don't miss Maghrib. Many people have gone for Maghrib. I guess that's why we are not seeing them on the.
Taiwo Kuye is still on. Maybe you could probably just take that then.
Okay, let's Taiwo Kuye do it.
Naam, assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Jazakumullah khairan to everyone who had blessed us with their presence to this session. Like our president has said, it's going to be the first of many webinar sessions that we'll be having. Works are in place to have another session in December to talk about one of the main issues in the economy today and how it's going to impact our lives. And we're working towards bringing somebody from the regulatory body to have this discussion with us. So we'll be having many more of these sessions. We want members to continue to bless us with their presence, continue to be active members, continue to become financial members as well, because like we know, so we want to plead with us to continue to support us from wherever we are. The world is already a global village. You don't need to be physically present here to lend in your support. We pray to Allah to bless each and every one of us for attending this session and for your support. We thank the leadership of UMA. We thank the leadership of the BOT for their presence. Haji Razak, the president of UMA, Professor Khalid Adekoya, the entirety of the members of UMA NEC, members of UMA Lagos and Abuja, as well as every other member of UMA out there for their support and their continuous support towards ensuring that we continue to achieve our objectives as a body. Pray to Allah to continue to be with us. Also pray for our guest speaker today. May Allah continue to elevate you. This what you're seeing is just the of many, inshallah. Allah continue to elevate you and make you much more achieve much more in life. So we want to thank everyone for their presence once again. May Allah continue to be with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. On the final notes, I'd like to invite Madam Abdul Ghani Roji, NASFAT Dawa Officer and Mission Board Secretary, to give us a closing prayer.
Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. We thank you for your mercy. We thank you for your blessings. We thank you for the blessing of Islam. We thank you for the life of our brother Abdul Salam Idowu Kamaluddin. We thank you for making his story such an inspiring story. We thank you for the journey that the brother has been through in life, and we thank him for the success that we are all celebrating. To support this brother, you should continue to uplift him, and they should continue to safeguard him. And then we thank you specifically for guiding us through the proceedings of today's program. We thank you for what you are using UMA for. Alhamdulillah. This is another success story for UMA. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. May Allah continue to strengthen UMA. And we thank you for the lives of the new leadership of UMA, starting from the president and the other people who are working with him. Our prayer is that Allah will continue to strengthen you, will continue to give you the wherewithal so that you can continue to pilot the affairs of this UMA to a level that everybody will be proud of. And then whatever we do for Allah through UMA, Allah will accept it from us as an act of ibadah. We pray for Nigeria as a country. As we move towards another election year, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ease our fears. May Allah safeguard us. May Allah protect us in our country, in our homes, in our communities, wherever we are. May Allah protect us. And our university, our alma mater, University of Lagos, that is the mother that gave birth to all of us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to protect those who are managing the affairs of the institution, and may Allah continue to safeguard the institution itself. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد
لله رب العالمين.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining the call on behalf of the National Executive. I say thank you. Thank you so much. We can go for our
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, bye.